Hey guys, today I want to do just a short video to talk to you about one of the biggest mistakes that I see supervisors make when it comes to providing supervision to fieldwork students. And that biggest mistake is not having a structured supervision plan in place. When we don't have a plan in place for our supervision process, it becomes reactive instead of proactive. That's going to lead to inconsistent trainings, missed competencies, and ultimately to unprepared future BCBAs. Supervision isn't just about signing off on hours. As a supervisor, it's our job to shape ethical, competent, and independent thinking behavior analysts for the future of our field. Now, if we are not having this plan in place, this is going to lead to a lot of issues. One, the supervisee is not going to know what to expect from supervision. So they might not be doing things that they should be doing and also not understanding the fact that they are missing these opportunities. You're also going to be missing out on training opportunities. You should be training all areas of the task list, even though they're in a master's program. We still need to assess those competencies in the real world. And we should be looking at that throughout the supervision process and make sure that there's no gaps in their learning. And then feedback is another important piece. We need to be giving objective and structured feedback, not just saying great job at the end of every meeting that you have with them. And without having a plan in place, you're not going to have that opportunity to have that structured feedback because honestly, a lot of the times you're going to be going into supervision feeling like you're just winging it, just getting through it and getting them through their hours without actually having this meaningful and very important process of supervision along the way. So, if you're a BCBA that doesn't have this structure in place, that's okay. You're one of many, but there is a way to fix this problem. So, first thing you should be doing is setting expectations. You should be doing this with all new supervisees that come in. But if you haven't done this already with your existing supervisees, do this in your very next meeting that you have with them. So, of course, you're going to have a contract in place, but that contract should also really go over what the roles and expectations are of each party. And if your contract doesn't explicitly state those things, then you need to go over that with them and maybe also have an updated contract. Another thing that you want to do is talk about the supervisee's goals. So, a lot of us do get into the field to work with children with autism, but that's not everybody. There's so many different areas we can work in as BCBAs. So we need to look and see what our supervisees' long-term goals are, what population do they want to work with, and make sure that we are growing their skills in the direction that they're going to need for their future career. Next, you need to have a structured plan for what you're going to be teaching your supervisee. So you can use a pre existing curriculum or you can create something on your own as well. But you want to have a competency based tracking system where you can track their competencies in all areas of the test content outline to see where they're at and where the gaps are and look at their progress over time. Now, you also want to have a way that you're going to identify what topics you're going to cover each month of supervision. So you should be mapping this out ahead of time if you're not using a pre-existing curriculum to identify what you're going to cover in these different months and make sure that you're not missing any topics and any areas that they're having difficulties in. You continue to work on those throughout each month. You don't want to just wait for these learning opportunities to happen because if you have a behavior tech that's working with a couple of clients throughout the next couple of years, it's going to be the same pretty much throughout that time with some slight variations, but they're not going to experience the whole range of skills that they're going to need as an entry-level BCBA. So make sure that you create these learning opportunities for them, whether it's through helping on additional cases, through role play opportunities or case discussions. We still need them to become competent in the whole range of skills that they need as a BCBA. And the next thing we'll want to look at is applied and practical skills. I always have that supervision curriculum piece where we're going through conceptual knowledge, but tied into that is applied assignments where I am looking at hands on practical skills that the supervisee is engaged in. Now, of course, I'm going to see them in their day to day work, but I also want to see them engaging with parents. I also want to see them running assessments and doing these things they're not necessarily going to be doing as a part of their day to day work. So make sure that we are assessing applied skills along the way. We should be doing behavioral skills training with that, where we're providing instruction, modeling, allowing them to role play, provide feedback, and then go through this cycle until they are building their competencies. And then we can put them in real world situations to actually practice all of these things that they need. And then also having a structured grading rubric for providing structured feedback to them. So it's consistent across all of your supervisees, and the supervisee knows what it is that they should be doing, what those expectations are on the applied work that they're doing. And it allows you to provide just really structured and objective feedback. Having regular and consistent meetings is another very important piece to effective supervision. So, outside of your meetings where you're supervising them with their clients, you should be having additional meetings outside of that at least every week to every 2 weeks to go over things when the client's not right there in front of you. These are opportunities to answer questions, to role play scenarios, to talk about things that are not necessarily related to their work as an RBT, where you're expanding on skills and expanding their skills to become an effective BCBA. Another thing that I really like to do in these one-to-one meetings is video modeling. So having, even if you're working in person with a supervisee, but having some recordings of them working with clients with consents, of course, that you can then watch back with them, provide them with feedback, but then also have them evaluate their own skills. This really is going to teach self assessment and self evaluation for your supervisee to know what their skills are and to see skills that they're lacking. Although a lot of people feel uncomfortable watching themselves on video, it's actually really, really beneficial to build their skills. One of my favorite tools for this is a system called Go React. It's HIPAA, COPA, FERPA compliant, and I'm not related to them in any way. I just really like this system where supervisees can upload videos in there. You can go over it with them or even have them review it outside of supervision, and they can type their feedback into this system. You can type the feedback into the system, and then you guys can watch it together to see what they've noticed, what you've noticed, and actually have some really good documentation of them working with their client and have some videos of that. It really also helps demonstrate progress over time for them as well. And the final thing that I want to talk about when it comes to having a structured supervision plan in place is incorporating ethics to everything that we're doing. So, ethics shouldn't just be an afterthought, something that we discuss whenever there is an issue. It's something we should be talking about throughout the supervision process to make sure that our supervisees are engaged in their most ethical behavior, but also that they're evaluating situations that they're in, always looking at what is the best thing to do for the client and in line with our ethics code. So, you can do this through case examples, through role play, through situations that are occurring right now in real life for your clients. But you want to make sure that it's something that's discussed on a regular basis. So our supervisees can learn that skill of having ethical decision making along the way as they're working with their clients, as they're supervising other people when they become BCBAs, and just as they're engaging with all the collaborative environments that we are going to work in. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is a lot of work. This one biggest mistake of not having a structured supervision plan has so many different pieces to it. So it's not as simple as just writing down a list of topics that you're going to cover with your supervisee, although that is a piece of it. So it's a lot of hard work. It is definitely time consuming. And that's why I have taken all of the effort that I've put into creating my supervision curriculum into something that I can share with other BCBAs as well. Now, you by all means can take this information and spend the time and create your own system. That's obviously what I did. But like I said, I'm also sharing that with other BCBAs, with supervisees, with companies that can implement this system on a larger scale to create a more effective, ethical, and competent future population of behavior analysts. So, if you're interested in a completely ready made system with like all of the assignments, questions, teaching tips, group supervision topics, a complete supervisor guide, everything that you could possibly want for your supervision experience, I have the link for my supervision curriculum below, which is also updated for the sixth edition test content outline that just came out in 2025. So make sure that you take a look at that, because even if you want to create your own system, look at the outline that I have in my system, and that could help you get some ideas of what you also want to create. So either take the time to create something structured, find a tool, whether it's my supervision curriculum or some other resource out there that's going to allow you to do this in a more structured and thoughtful manner, and make that change to your supervision process, because it's a lot of work, but supervision isn't just something for us to get through to reach that number at the end of the line for the supervisee to be done with supervision. We want the best future generation of behavior analysts out there. We want supervisees that are going to be able to pass their exam on the very first time they take it. And we want more people in our field out there so we can help more people as well. So please take these tips, write them down, look for some tools that are going to help you, and make sure that you have a structured supervision plan in place for your supervision experience.